Welcome to You Brew Kombucha. As you've probably seen in my other videos, I recommend using a good quality tea when it comes to brewing your kombucha. But what does good quality really mean? Depending on where you source your tea, there is a huge range of options and price points that you can choose from when it comes to sourcing it. So some tea can cost maybe 10 to 15 bucks per pound, and some tea can cost upwards of $200 or more per pound. So what does tea quality even really mean? It depends on where it's sourced. Is it coming from a single farm, a single estate? Is it coming from a tea producer or a tea farm that has been growing tea for generations? Does the tea taste good? Very similar to how wine is grown and produced in different regions all over the world, tea can taste different depending on where it's grown, the climate, how it's processed, and how it's delivered to you can all affect the outcome of the final tea that you're drinking. So knowing that some teas can be very, very expensive and are meant to be just consumed straight up, are those types of teas the ones that you should be using for kombucha? And to that, I'll say probably not. I'm a big tea drinker. I'm a big tea fanatic. And there are some teas that I just prefer to drink straight without anything added to it and without it being processed in any other way after it leaves the tea processing plant in China or Taiwan or wherever I happen to be sourcing it from. So for those types of teas that are on the pricier side, I really want to experience the tea leaf itself and the flavor of the tea itself. When I'm drinking very expensive teas, it generally means that that tea has a robust set of tastes and characteristics on its own that's just fine to be drunk straight up. Since you're fermenting and you're flavoring tea for kombucha, you can generally get away with a lesser quality tea since you're going to be adding flavorings to it and since it's going to be undergoing a fermentation process that might lose a lot of the subtle nuances that you want to capture when you're drinking very pricey, high quality tea straight up. So the teas that I generally like to use for kombucha typically fall between the $15 to $25 per pound range. I always like to brew with loose leaf teas. I've kind of gone back and forth between brewing with non-organic and organic, and you can watch my video and read my full write-up on tea on my website. I'll also link it down in the description box below. But in general, if you find a tea and you like the way it tastes and it's at an affordable price point for you, go ahead and use it. I know that price is pretty relative and what you're willing to splurge on can vary from person to person. I personally love my $100 per pound teas just fine on their own, so I am pretty wary about using it for kombucha when I know that I've got other less expensive teas that I can use for that process. But you can also experiment. You might find that you have one particular cultivar of tea that makes fantastic kombucha and that's all you want to use, and that's perfectly fine as well. So if you're just getting started brewing kombucha, it might be worth it for you to try out a few different types of teas that you purchase in small quantities just to get a feel for the flavors that you like and the price point that you're comfortable with, just to see if you're good with whatever teas you end up purchasing or if you might want to explore and try other different types. So in a nutshell, just use whatever tea that you like to drink and that produces consistently delicious kombucha for you. I'd like to know what your favorite types of tea to use are when you brew kombucha. Comment down below with your recommendations. And if you have other questions or you want to find more information about the kombucha brewing process, be sure to check out the other videos and write-ups on my website, youbrewkombucha.com. Happy brewing! Like, if you're a fucking millionaire, drink the $2,000 a pound tea in your kombucha, and that's fine.